to Power Awards, everyone. I'm Tracy, and today we have an exciting episode lineup. Joining us, it's our English learning expert, Ethan.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me, Tracy.
Ethan, many of our listeners struggle to understand native English speakers, especially when they talk fast or use slang. Do you have any fun ways to practice this?
Absolutely. What if I told you that binge watching TV shows could actually help improve your English? The key here is picking the right shows and knowing how to learn from them.
That sounds almost too good to be true. Where should our listeners start?
Well, a great place to begin is with a classic, Friends. It's perfect for English learners because it teaches natural conversation skills in a fun and engaging way.
What makes Friends so effective for learning English?
First, the dialogue is clear and easy to follow. The characters speak at a natural pace, and there's plenty of repetition. Plus, since it's a sitcom, the situations reflect everyday life, like ordering coffee, dating, or work-related conversations. These are things that you actually talk about in real life.
That makes sense. Can you share some useful phrases from Friends?
Of course, one of the most famous catchphrases is Joey's "How you doing?" It's a casual, playful way to greet someone. It's much more relaxed than saying "How are you?" and people still use it today.
Oh, I've definitely heard that one. Any other iconic phrases?
Another classic is Ross's "We were on a break." This line became so popular that people still use it today whenever there's a relationship misunderstanding. It's a great example of how TV shows can actually influence everyday language.
That's fascinating. What about someone who needs to learn business English?
For that, The Office is absolutely perfect. Unlike Friends, The Office feels more natural and unscripted because of its mockumentary style. What makes it really special is how it teaches you sarcasm and workplace humor.
I've always found sarcasm tricky in English. How does The Office help with that?
It helps by showing you exactly how sarcasm works through tone and context. Like when Jim says, "Oh great, another team building exercise. I love those." You can tell from his voice that he definitely doesn't love them. The show is full of these moments where the delivery tells you the real meaning.
So what kind of workplace phrases could someone learn from The Office?
You'll hear tons of real office jargon like, "Let's circle back on this," or "Let's touch base later," and "Looks like someone's having a case of the Mondays." Plus, you'll learn how to handle workplace situations like meetings, presentations, and even office parties.
That's so useful. It's like a sneak peek into a real conversation.
Exactly, and it's not just vocabulary. You're also picking up how people interact in a professional setting, including small talk, polite disagreement, and even office gossip.
Office gossip? That sounds interesting.
Oh yeah, in the office, you'll hear phrases like, "Did you hear what happened in accounting?" or "I probably shouldn't say this, but," which is often a signal that gossip is coming. It's helpful to understand these phrases even if you don't plan to use them yourself.
That's such a fun way to learn. So, Friend is great for everyday conversation, and The Office is perfect for business English. How about for someone who wants to learn more modern, casual English?
Then Brooklyn Nine-Nine is your show. The dialogue is super fast-paced, it's packed with current slang and witty comebacks, and you can take Jake Peralta's famous line, "Cool, cool, cool, no doubt, no doubt." It's a perfect example of how young people actually talk today, and it's casual, it's playful, and a great way to sound more natural in conversation.
That sounds fun. What makes Brooklyn Nine-Nine especially good for learning?
Well, two big things. First, the characters all have very different speaking styles, so you get exposed to various accents, tones, and personalities. For example, Jake speaks fast and informally, while Captain Holt is a very formal and precise person, which makes it easier to pick up the contrasts in speech styles. Second, it's great for practicing natural rhythm and speed in English. There's this technique called shadowing, where you repeat what the characters say right after them. And Brooklyn Nine-Nine is perfect for that because of its quick dialogue and natural flow.
That's a great tip. What about shows for more advanced learners?
That's where Sherlock comes in. It's fantastic for expanding your vocabulary and understanding British English. The way Sherlock Holmes speaks is incredibly precise and logical. It's like a masterclass in advanced English.
Can you give us an example of the kind of vocabulary you had learned?
Absolutely. You'll hear words like deduction, which means making logical conclusions based on evidence. But it's not just about the big words. You'll also learn the subtle differences in how British people use everyday words. For example, they say brilliant a lot, and not just to describe something intellectually impressive. In the UK, brilliant is used casually the way Americans might say awesome or great.
That's such a useful insight, and I have heard a lot about a newer show called The Bear. Is that a good one for learning too?
Oh, definitely. The Bear is fantastic for learning real-world, fast-paced dialogue, especially if you're interested in restaurant or hospitality industry. It's full of high energy and conversations, overlapping speech, and realistic slang.
So what kind of phrases would someone pick up from The Bear?
You'll hear kitchen lingo like yes chef, which is a respectful way to acknowledge an order in a professional kitchen. There's also fire it, which means to start cooking a dish. These phrases aren't just useful for restaurant settings. They also help you practice quick thinking and responding under pressure, which is a great skill for English learners in any fast-paced situation.
That's so interesting. So depending on your goals, you can choose a show that matches what you want to learn.
Exactly. Watching TV shows isn't just about picking up new words. It's about training your ear, improving pronunciation, and understanding real-life speech patterns.
That's really interesting. What about shows that mix different types of English?
For that, Ted Lasso is absolutely perfect. You get both American and British English in one show, which makes it a fantastic way to compare different accents, slang, and cultural expectations. Ted, being an American, often speaks in idioms and metaphors, while the British characters use more dry humor and formal expressions. Plus, the show is full of positive, motivational language. One of Ted's most famous lines, "Be curious, not judgmental," is a great example of how to express deep ideas in simple words.
I love that. So we have covered quite a few shows, but how should someone actually use them to improve their English? Just watching doesn't seem like enough.
That's a great point. Watching passively helps, but to really learn, you need a structured approach. I recommend a 3-step method. First, watch with subtitles in your native language. This helps you to understand the story and characters without stressing too much about the language. Then, you watch it again, but with English subtitles. This lets you connect the words you hear with how they are written, which improves both listening and reading skills. Finally, you can try to watch it without the subtitles. This is where you train your ear to catch real spoken English naturally. It's okay if you don't catch every word. The goal is to understand the overall meaning.
That sounds like a solid method. Do you have any other tips for making the most of these shows?
For sure. One of the best things you can do is keep a small notebook while you're watching these shows. Whenever you hear an interesting phrase, write it down and try to use it in your daily life. Also, don't stress too much about understanding every single word. Focus on the general meaning first, and over time, the details will become clearer. Another great tip is to repeat short dialogues out loud, just like the characters. This helps with pronunciation, rhythm, and confidence in speaking.
That makes so much sense. But what if someone feels overwhelmed by how fast native speakers talk? I know there's a big struggle for a lot of learners.
That's totally normal. English, especially in TV shows, can seem really fast at first. If that's a challenge, start with Friends. It's designed to be easy to follow, and you can try watching just one scene at a time and pause it if you need, and replay it a few times after. Over time, your brain will adjust to the speed and patterns of spoken English. And remember, even native speakers sometimes miss things in fast conversations. The key is to relax and enjoy the process.
These are such helpful tips. To wrap things up, do you have a challenge for our listeners to pull all of this into practice?
I do. I call this the 7-Day TV Show Challenge. Here's how it works. On the first day, you pick a show and watch an episode with subtitles in your native language. On the second day, watch the same episode again, but this time with English subtitles. On days 3 to 6, you watch the same episode, or keep on watching one episode per day with English subtitles and write down new words and phrases you hear. On the 7th day, you try watching an episode, but without any subtitles at all. By the end of the week, you'll be amazed at how much you improved. And we'd love to hear about your progress, so share your experience with us on social media.
That sounds like such a fun and practical way to improve English while enjoying great TV. Thank you so much, Eden. This has been incredibly helpful.
My pleasure. And remember, learning English doesn't have to be boring or feel like a chore. Sometimes all you need is a comfy couch, a good show, and a little curiosity.
That's such a great mindset. Well, that's all for today's episode of Power Words. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and join us next time for more fun ways to improve your English. Happy watching, everyone!